Hey, what's up? This is Joe. This video is going to take you on a ride into Central Texas. Checking out the Fandango motorcycle show in Fredericksburg.
Hey, there they are.
And experiencing yet another mechanical failure on my NC750X. There's a small motorcycle rally in Fredericksburg, Texas called the Fandango. From what I can tell, it's kind of an antique bike show. Things don't really start kicking off until Friday, so gives me a couple of days to get out there and then a couple of days to kind of settle in. Anyway, westward bound. From the Sam Houston National Forest, just a little outside of Cleveland, I headed west across the back roads of East and into Central Texas. Up until this point, my bike had more or less been running fine. In spite of this, I still had a sneaking suspicion that my latest cam chain tensioner, my fourth to be exact, was on its way out. I listened carefully to the sound of the motor, but still wasn't hearing any of the telltale symptoms. Not yet, anyway. Oh yeah, baby. For my money, this is just about the best way to cook a steak. Get a good sear on the outside, render down some of those juices, throw my mushrooms in there. Never gets old, man. Pick up a nice steak, let it get to the right temperature, and that's my main meal of the day. Doing this kind of a diet, I just feel 100% better. I didn't really talk about it, but when I was traveling through Southeast Asia last winter, I was basically eating whatever, and while the food was absolutely delicious, they They just have a tendency of adding sugar to a lot of stuff. You're eating a lot of gluten, high glycemic index type of foods. I just felt terrible. Both my knees were bothering me, both my shoulders, my hips. Fast forward to coming back and being back on this kind of intermittent fasting slash carnivore type of a deal. Obviously a lot of rotisserie chickens, lamb if I can get it. I really prefer that. You know, the price point is better than beef, but it's just made me feel so much better. And I'm not trying to advocate this type of a diet for anybody else. I think it's kind of extreme, but for me it's just done wonders. You know, I was taking a cheat day like every week, but that was kind of making me feel like shit. So now I'm going to take a cheat day like maybe every 2 weeks. And a lot of people that do this type of diet advocate that you should never take a cheat day. But from my perspective, like, you got to live, you know, and there's just so much delicious food out there. But if you're going to eat one thing, I mean, actually, if I was going to eat one thing, it would probably be pizza. But a close second would be like succulent, dripping fat, seared meat. So Bastrop State Park, about 40 minutes outside of Austin. Beautiful place. Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of time to enjoy it. The wind tomorrow is supposed to be absolutely brutal. So what I'm going to do tonight is go to bed early and wake up around 5, get the hell out of here. That way I can avoid a lot of the crosswinds and stuff that are going to be coming from this way. Anytime a truck passes, it's going to be massive turbulence, and obviously I'm going to be on like a 2-lane highway, so it's not really supposed to kick up until the afternoon. So that gives me time to sort of mosey on over to Fredericksburg in relative comfort. This looks like an old boat launch, just going into a pool of tepid water. I don't know if maybe this used to be some kind of a little pond or something, or whatever it was. Maybe it was like a kayak launch or something like that, and maybe the water's just really low. You know, this place was like 20 bucks, which is a lot cheaper than some of the other state parks that I've stayed at. I wouldn't typically stay in a $20 a night place, but just wanted something convenient, kind of relax, get my stuff set up. This thing's kind of cool. Wow. Awesome view from up here. I just hiked the better part of a mile to get up here. I set an alarm for 4:30 the next morning and sat reading my book until the sun went down. I rode clear through the big city of Austin and motored on toward Fredericksburg. I liked Fredericksburg right from the start. It was a quaint German-style town with a lot of cool architecture and fancy restaurants I could only dream of eating at. It wasn't long after arriving that the wind picked up, and I was glad I'd made the decision to leave early. Well, as you saw, it's been absolutely windy as hell. Even though it sucked waking up at 4:30 this morning, I'm not regretting the decision to hit the road when I did. The ride was nice and cool for most of it. The city of Austin is a place that I'd like to explore a little bit more. One of the fastest growing cities in Texas, and for that matter, probably the country. But yeah, this is a little municipal park that's like $10 a night. So got a couple more days before the Fandango, so just hanging out here, editing some video, taking it easy. That is one fat duck right there. I can only imagine that this guy gets fed pretty regularly. Wonder what these things are eating on. They keep going under the water, grabbing something. Good old prickly pears. These things are some good eating. If you can get some nopalitos, staple of Tex-Mex and Mexican cuisine. The next morning I went to wash my bike in preparation for changing out my drive chain and sprockets, when sure enough, I heard the unmistakable rattle of yet another bad cam chain tensioner. Alright, so here's the deal. I got yet another cam chain tensioner just went out. So at this point, I'm just gonna take it to the Honda dealership and have them go in there and see if they can figure out what's wrong with it. It seems to me that there must be some kind of an underlying issue, like maybe a bad cam chain or something like that. So this is not really gonna feel too good on my balls, but but fortunately a buddy of mine lives about 60 miles away in San Antonio, which is where the shop is. So he's coming up here with the truck and trailer. All right, it ain't pretty, but it works. All right, so we just got the bike dropped off. I realize now I'm totally covered in grease. It's fair. This is my buddy Ray who came to pick me up. And now we're just sitting down here eating some barbecue. Oh yeah. Rudy's Texas brisket. Okay, so today's the first day. Bob and his cheery morning personality. What's up, Bob? Today's the first day of the Fandango. It's supposed to pour down rain. I've already looked at the venue where it's taking place, and it doesn't really look like a place I really want to be. It's also supposed to get really cold. Bob has already gotten a hotel with a couple of beds, so I'm just gonna be kind of, if you'll pardon the expression, shacking up at his place. After packing up all my stuff and stashing it in Bob's hotel room, we headed over to the Fandango. Hey, there they are. I've really got a soft spot for these old BMWs, particularly after having ridden one across country. The story of the BMW I rode across country is a story that deserves to be told. In fact, I started a video project on it which has been sitting around on my laptop for over a year. The adventure took place a little bit before I started this channel, so I don't really have a lot of content to work with. Suffice to say, it was an 86 RT, which took me to some extremely beautiful places and facilitated a number of interactions with some characters just as unusual as the bike. That's a Ducati Mountaineer, look at that. 1967. Wow.
That's everywhere. That's brand new. That's a brand new motor.
As we were sitting around, I got a call from the Honda shop. The technician figured he'd narrowed it down to a worn-out cam chain and figured that's what was throwing out so many tensioners. The job itself was relatively simple, but required removing the engine, which is not so simple. As it was, I wasn't going to be going anywhere anytime soon, at least not on a motorcycle. With the shudder running down my spine, I called up the service coordinator and told him to start the work. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box for anybody that might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road. Hopefully, if they ever get done working on my bike.